Kumaris, Murli of 20th December 1969. This Murli Baba is especially emphasizing on having plain remembrance. Plain remembrance is remembrance that is not mixed with anything else, completely plain. And Baba says when we have plain remembrance, then there is success in every plan of service that we make. And so let us go into depths of Baba's versions. Baba's Murli's title is Success in Plans Through Plain Remembrance. Success in Plans Through Plain Remembrance. What is Bab Dada seeing today? What has he come to see and do? Today, Bab Dada has come to make his extremely lovely children make a promise. You souls were clever at making a promise at the beginning. Just as you did not hesitate in making a promise at the beginning, so too Bap Dada has come to take a promise from you now. Out of all the souls in the entire drama, you are known as the most courageous because you had courage and came close to Bap Dada and received love from him. You took help from him and also helped him. So Bap Dada has come to test those sanskaras once again. All of you are ever ready, are you not? The promise you have to make is, and Baba is saying what promise we have to make. The promise you have to make is that from now on, there will be unity, cleanliness, subtlety, sweetness, and greatness in your thoughts, words, and deeds, visible to everyone at every step. So Baba is sharing 5 things: unity, ekta, cleanliness, swachhta, subtlety, sukshamta, sweetness, madhurta, and greatness, mahanta. In your thoughts, words, and deeds, visible to everyone at every step. So this is the promise Baba is taking from us. Unity, cleanliness, subtlety, sweetness, and greatness. It's good to hold on to these 5 words and go into the depths of the experience behind these words. Baba says, you were told that many were sent on service after the birthday. Do you remember those days? What did people say about you then? The words that emerged from everyone's lips were that all of you have come out of the same machine. What all of you say is the same, and the attraction of all of you is the same. So whose influence was that? That was the influence of the subtle sustenance. So the unity that was visible was a result of that everyone got the same subtle sustenance. Even whilst being in the corporeal form, you were visible to everyone as Avyakt angels. In an ordinary form, You are visible as spiritual beings and as images that attract. Now, once again, just as that was the 16-year bhaktis, this is the 16-day bhakti. But from now, everyone should come to know that you have come here transformed in order to transform the world. You have come here transformed in order to transform the world. The entire divine family, especially, has an eye on this group. So the special souls have to reveal their specialities. What speciality? Which speciality? You were already told of 5 things. Only when you remember these 5 things in your every thought, word, and deed will you be visible to everyone as special souls. So again, the 5 words, Baba said, unity, cleanliness, subtlety, sweetness, and greatness. So Baba says, when you bring about specialities in yourself, you will be able to reveal the Father. You can only reveal the Father through your sanskaras of perfection. Now, just through your service plans, but you can also reveal the Father through your sanskaras of perfection and your perfect Shakti form. Although you have to create plans, those plans will only be successful when, together with the plans, you have total love. That says, together with the plans, you have total love. There should be plain remembrance. There should not be anything mixed in it. Only with plain remembrance can you be successful. Check before you create any plans. There should be plain remembrance. What was the promise you made at the beginning? Do you remember that song? You have to put that into practice now. That is, it should be visible to everyone that your love of the intellect is only for the one. Now, do you understand what you have come to do and see? Let's take a moment to just go into silence and experience plain remembrance. Just I, the soul, and Baba, and nothing else in between us. I, the soul, am lost in Baba's remembrance. Baba says, Baba likes variety. This is a heart-to-heart conversation. Some fail in this. At this time, you have become those who defeat everyone. You are not defeated. You do not allow yourself to be defeated. This is also good. However, you do become sensitive. If you want to learn the art of being victorious in whatever you are saying, then learn it from the children. When this little difference finishes, all these souls will surrender themselves to you. Just as all of you surrendered yourselves to Baba, so too your devotees will surrender themselves to you, Shaktis. However, these differences should finish. Subtle differences should finish. The most sensible ones that emerged are those who instantly struck a bargain in front of the souls of the entire world. We are the most courageous and the most sensible. This is why Bapdada says, this is the gathering of those who are the most sensible. You are also courageous. No matter how much courage others have, no one can have the courage that you have of giving an instant donation, which counts as great charity. Although everyone bathes in the rivers, you bathed in the ocean. There is a difference between bathing in the rivers and bathing in the ocean. You have passed in this. Now it remains for you to pass in one other aspect. The marks are dependent on that one aspect. Baba says, no matter what direction you receive at any time, in any form, for anywhere, it can be given at any time. You can even be given a direction to be ready in 1 second. Have all of you become ever ready to this extent? When you were to leave the impure household, did you think about anything? You did not consider your jewelry, clothes, or children. You did not consider anything. So, since this is a pure household, what need is there to consider those things? So, just like in the early days, the Dadi especially, all the elders, the way they left the homes and everything, it came very naturally. And so Baba is saying now, even after belonging to Baba, then the household of service, even that, Baba says we should be able to be ever ready to leave in a second. Baba says previously you were just lost in love, and you did all this out of love, not with knowledge. So there was the power of love, total love. Love alone made you ever ready to that extent. Now, as well as love, you also have power. Even whilst having love and power, why is there a delay in becoming ever ready? And so Baba says in the early days there was love, and on the basis of love, you were able to just let go of everything else and just surrender to Baba and be ever ready. And now, Baba says there is love, there is also power, but then why is there delay in becoming ever ready? Baba says in the beginning it was announced that everyone had to go onto the field at that time. So too, this has to repeat now, but in various different forms. Because Bab Dada knows the future, he wants you in advance. And yet, it should not be that you all keep yourselves in the bondage of service. Even whilst having bondages, you must not stay in bondage. To be in bondage to any soul is not a sign of becoming free from bondage. This is why all of you have to pass this one subject with honor. And so Baba is making us pay attention to this subject of not having bondage, even a subtle bondage to service. Baba says, you will be warned about that which you never thought or even dreamt about. Those who pass in such a paper will pass with honor. This is why Bapdada is telling you in advance. You're being given a signal in advance. This is known as going into the depth. What would be the speciality of those who have a subtle intellect? And so one of the 5 specialities was subtlety. And so Baba is saying, what is the speciality of those who have a subtle intellect? Those who have a subtle intellect will be able to mold themselves according to circumstance. So the capacity of molding will come according to circumstance. They will have the courage to confront anything. They will never be confused, but they will go into the depth of whatever the situation is and move according to that. Only when you are light will you be able to mold yourselves. Only when something is warm and soft can it be molded. And so there is a connection between subtlety and then the power to mold. If either is missing, it will not be molded. Whatever it is first heated and made soft, and then it can be molded. What is the warmth and softness here? The softness is humility, and the warmth is the form of power. Warmth and softness, I was saying. The softness is humility, and warmth is the form of power. And so both of these, humility with power, are needed to have a subtle intellect. Humility means the form of love. Those who have love for every soul will be able to remain humble. If there is no love, neither will they be able to become merciful, nor will they be humble. This is why there has to be humility and the form of power. That is, to the extent that you are humble, there should be the feeling of being a master. There should be the feeling of being a master in the form of power. And in humility, there should be the virtue of serving. There should be service and also the feeling of being a master. As Mama says, humility, softness, and love, they go together. And then the warmth and power and master, they go together. And they should be both. Baba says, there should be the feeling of being a master in the form of power, and in humility, there should be the virtue of serving. There should be service and also the feeling of being a master. You should be a server and also have the intoxication of being a master of the world. When you have both this softness and warmth, you will be able to mold yourself in every aspect. So this is something to deeply reflect on how both softness and warmth, there's both love and power, humility and being a master are needed. Baba says, when you have both the softness and warmth, you will be able to mold yourself in every aspect. Each of you has to check that the intellect is equally balanced with warmth and softness. Sometimes extreme humility causes damage, and sometimes the extreme feeling of being a master causes damage. And so there should be this balance. This is why there has to be the balance of both. There will be as much greatness as there is equality. Now, do you understand in which one aspect will you pass with honor? So to have a subtle intellect, to be able to mold, and to have a balance of these two aspects, softness and warmth, humility and power, love and being a master. Baba says the final paper is being announced in advance. You should be free from bondage at every moment. You should be free from any bondage, even in terms of bondage of service. So this is something to really deeply reflect on. How can service become a bondage? As soon as it is announced, you have to be ever ready and come onto the field. This is the final paper which will be given to you at the right time in a practical way. If you pass in this paper, the other things are not big things. If you pass in this paper, it means you will have an avyakt stage. If you go beyond the consciousness of the body, the other things are not a big thing. It is through this that you can tell to what extent we have left the ropes of the boat of that life. One is the golden chain, and the other is the iron chain. You have to let go of the golden chain, but now there are still the subtle golden chains. And so many times, Baba tells about the iron chains and the golden chains. The iron chains is when we come out from the logic way of doing, perceiving things into the alokik. And then the golden chains is the subtle identities that we can create in the alokik world. And that can become a golden chain. Baba says these are such that they are not visible to anyone. These are such that they are not visible to anyone. Acha. It's a very deep and powerful Murli. Let us take a minute or so to just absorb Baba's versions, and then we'll continue tomorrow from where we have left off today. So let's take a moment with Baba. Om Shanti. Maybe it's good to maybe discuss and share and churn together what we have heard from Baba today. So please feel free to share your thoughts. Om Shanti.
Hello.
Hello.
Om Shanti Paisarji.
Shanti.
I will promise with Baba that from today, moving forward, I will try my best to stay sweet and pure and clean and unity in my thoughts, feelings, and actions. Thank you. Om Shanti, everyone.
Thank you, Shanti. Very nice. Other thoughts?
Om Shanti, brother. Today's Murli Baba reminded about our promise. The promise you have to be make is that from now on there will be unity, cleanliness, subtlety, sweetness, and greatness in your thoughts, words, and deeds, visible to everyone at every step. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. Thank you.
Om Shanti. These 5 things are my specialty when I am in my eternal form, the point form, and I think that's a promise which I have to remind me myself every moment, every 1 hour, at least for a minute or two. About that, I'm a soul who's got these 5 specialties that my every thought, word, and deed are in unison, are in unity, and I am in unity with the God. And then, the cleanliness automatically comes from this. Once I'm in unity with myself and my Baba, then cleanliness of the thoughts, and then subtlety, then I am in the Avyakt form, and the sweetness, automatically the Baba, it flows from Baba to me, and to me from the me to the entire external environment. And greatness, the aim is very high, then the greatness automatically comes, and the aim is to be like Baba in my thoughts, words, and deeds. So they will be visible through my virtues and through the actions at to everyone at every step. I think that is the core of today's Murli. Om Shanti.
Very nice. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. The ways in which we can reveal the Father, Baba says that there needs to be these 5 specialities: unity, cleanliness, subtlety, sweetness, and greatness in every thought, word, and action. Second thing being perfect. Perfection also reveals Father. Perfection in sanskars and perfection in all the powers. Besides, Baba says that we can reveal Father through plans and total love, which brings out success in the plans that we have made, besides having a plain remembrance. So these fine points can help to reveal the Father. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti, brother.
Om Shanti.
That particular paragraph, but Baba took me as a form of gold, I think. I'm a gold soul. Like Baba first asked me, are you ready? Have you left all your impure household? And then Baba said, for this you need two things. You need love and you need power. And he asks me, are you ready? I'm going to give you a paper. And for that, what do I need? As one of the qualities Baba said is subtlety. Then just like for the subtlety, Baba says you need two qualities, the power to mold and the power to be courageous. Because a person who can mold is never confused, there's always light, he can go in depth. Now, when you heat gold, it becomes soft. You can mold it. And it also becomes warm. And how Baba just takes this example of softness and warmth as humility and power. Because when it is soft, it is flexible. You can change its form and all. Just like a humble person is can mold himself. He can be flexible. He can change. He can adapt himself. So Baba gave a wonderful example of the heating. So what do I heat away? How do I bring that softness in me? Because Baba says if there is no humility, you cannot have love, you cannot have mercy. And how are you going to do service? Which is very important, one of the virtue of serving. And again, he also puts us up that you also have to be a master, which is power. So he also says the power which I should have and the humility which I must have, and what a balance he has created. So I have to just see how warm I am, how soft I am. I should be neither very warm or very soft. That is even extremeness, Baba saying how it's given. So it's a beautiful metamorphosis or a process in me, which I should keep experiencing. Very beautifully, that paragraph, I think. I like that paragraph. I would like to churn more on that. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. Very nice. Other thoughts?
Shanti. Today's Murli Baba speaks about having balance between humility and power. So, Rupai, is any way that we can reflect on this point as to how do one balance between being soft and yet being having the power? Any thoughts that you would like to share here? How do one balance that?
Yeah. Right. It's something to reflect on. Baba always, talks about balance and softness on one side. Baba said warmth on the other side. In this form of, we say, softness is love, and then warmth is power. Many times Baba would always, also say it's like love and law. The balance is. I think for me, what I feel is when there is, love for Baba. There is the feeling of love for Baba, and the soul feels loved by Baba completely. Then that allows that energy of love to, to be felt, to be vibrated everywhere else too. And then when there is, this clarity that comes by having a divine intellect, the clarity of what is right, what is not, then that, through Baba's Gyan, that allows then, I feel that, that sense of, we can say, power, or, that law, or, being a master, because the master has to decide also. And so somewhere it's all linked, when we say 8 powers, it's like the power of love is the power to tolerate, the power to accommodate, and then the power which is, the other side being a master, is then the power to judge, the power to discern things. And so it's when there is like this wholesome kind of development of the soul spiritually through Gyan and Yoga, then I think both of these aspects are covered in that. So that's what comes to mind right now.
Thank you, Saurabhai, for that. Even in today's Murli, Baba mentions that there was a time when, in the initial part of the yajna, soul surrendered through love. And today we have the power of love and the knowledge that Baba has given that will support us to surrender fully. And it's the point of reflection for me to take on. And also how to balance between what you just spoke about, there is love on the side, and how do I balance love and law? Because being soft is easy, but to be tough or to confront is a challenge that I face with myself, and that's something which I'm taking on to work on my own self. Om Shanti.
Very nice. I think the other day we were discussing about this. And this is always a balance, we say, between head and heart. And it's a similar thing here. So for our entry point could be different. Like for some, the entry point could be heart. I feel love, love from Baba and everything. But then the spiritual journey is then from the heart to head. So if it is only heart, then, I become sometimes too emotional. And then it's very easy for me to get hurt by, others, because I'm a very heart-based person. And so then my spiritual growth, my spiritual journey would be from heart to head. On the other side, for some, the head is what triggers. It all makes sense. It's very logical. It's very nice. And, but then there's no feeling. And then because when there's no feeling, it becomes dry. I know everything, but I don't feel it. And so, of course, a head person won't be hurt by others, but in the process, he may hurt others. And so there's always like a fine balance between head and heart. And so many times we say in the West, the journey is from head to heart, because in the West we tend to overanalyze everything. And in the East, especially in Bharat, the journey is from then heart to head. Everyone comes with that bhavana for God and everything. But then also there has to be then that clarity of Gyan and everything.
Beautiful, Saurabhai. When you were just mentioning the healing between the head and heart, I remember one of our BKs had written a beautiful book, Rajyoga, How to Heal the Heart and Head. And he had also given the journey between how do you move from the head to the heart, and how do you move from the head to the heart. For me, this concept of today's Murli is, I have to be soft, I have to be strong. Now, sometimes we feel being soft, is it being weak? That is, anyone can trample me upon. So I should not be so soft that I will be just changed into whatever I can. For that, being soft is, of course, a part of accommodation. But if I have the power of one, the power to whom I belong, I am Master Almighty Authority. I am ready to be soft, but I have my originality. That will never make me go down to a micro level. So I think the power below these powers of being one, or a power of remembrance, or there's so many more things we can think of. How can I make strong, as you said, the head? So a good balance between the head and the heart. I think it's a beautiful balance or journey which can go from these two heads. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti today. So Baba mentioned about revelation of him. So that is in the one paragraph, he's telling that do not think that only when a form of sickness is visible, when you then go, or that you will put yourself right at that time. It's not like that. So at the end, there will be such unique death of the children that the son will show the father. It will not be the same for everyone. What is that, brother?
Mm. Mhm. Right. So here, which paragraph was this? Let me just read that line again. Was it in the second page? Can you say the line again, sister, please?
Do you think that only when a form of sickness is visible, will you then go, or that you will put yourself right at that time? It is not like that. At the end, there will be such unique deaths of the children that the son will show the father. It will not be the same for everyone.
Right.
There are.
Yeah, now I see it. I think we haven't gone to that page yet. I think we'll discuss it tomorrow in the next
Okay,
session.
okay, okay.
Yes.
Shanti, brother.
Shanti.
Yeah. Can we discuss or reflect more upon the point that Baba is talking about, that we should be free from all bondages? Because in this season, Avyakt Murli also, Baba has told us to be free from all bondages. And today also, Baba is talking about free from all bondages. Check yourself that every moment you are free from any kind of bondage, or bondage of seva also should not be there. And also like golden chains, the subtle chains he's talking about. So can we reflect more on this? Like others can also share some points. Yes, thank you.
Right. Nice. I think Baba always mentions about, so the spiritual journey is all about letting go of temporary identities at the end of the day. And so, when we come to Baba, we realize we are souls, we are not bodies. And so it's easy to then let go of these identities, that we created in ignorance. I'm this, my profession, my age, my everything, like associated with the Lokik world. But then we come into the alokik world. And then what happens is when we spend more time with Baba, with family, then it's like an alokik identity gets created. I'm a Sevadhari, I'm a Sevadhari for these many years, I'm in Gyan for these many years, I handle this department. All these are, temporary identities, because the reality, as we all know, is all Baba is getting everything done. Baba is, and then, but sometimes, we can create another identity which is based in spirituality. I'll say, now I am very spiritual. Now I'm a spiritual person. And then I'm following all the principles. So I'll begin to see myself as more spiritual than others who are not maybe able to follow everything. So these are subtle kind of bondages. What bondage really means is like this temporary identity doesn't allow me to think, doesn't allow me to have unconditional love for everyone. It kind of somewhere binds me down, binds the soul. And that's where it is, it becomes a bondage. Suppose I'm living in a place for, I'm doing seva for 5 years, 10 years. Then I become attached to, the place, to the service, to people, to everything. I come into the comfort zone. And that also becomes a bondage, because then it doesn't allow me to, to forget everything else and then just connect to Baba. And so sometimes these subtle bondages are what Baba says are golden chains. And so this is part of the journey that we all face, and we all have to identify and let go of it. So that's what Baba is saying, unity is important, because then we don't feel like, because on the field of service, they could also be mine and yours, my center, your center, my seva, your seva. things like that, may come. Right.
Yes, thank you, brother. But do I get bonded by my ideas also? Some of my ideas, they also bind me down. Can it
Yeah.
also comparison which I have, like all these things, where my mind get bonded?
Yeah.
Can we include that in this, like the golden chains?
Yeah, if I take my self-respect from the idea, suppose I have an idea and I share, it got accepted, and there was success in service, so I feel good about it. But some other time, my idea wasn't accepted, or if it was accepted, there was no success in service. So my thoughts, my feelings are then, in bondage to that temporary identity that, I have shared my idea, it is my idea. But the reality is it is not, it's just Baba's touching the intellect and something, coming, and that's all. Mm-hmm. Right.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Om Shanti, brother.
Om Shanti.
I was just imagining the head and the heart. The soul was just getting this idea that head and heart, there are two trees, and there is a distance between them. And if we put a hammock, uh, which can bond together, head and the heart, and then either soul is in, that on that hammock, then I am getting the cooperation from both the, support from both the trees to fly high. Om Shanti. I just got this idea. I thought I must share. Om Shanti.
Very nice. Nice thought, Pai. Thanks for sharing.
Shanti, brother. Another point I noted is sometimes extreme humility causes damage, and sometimes feeling of being a master causes damage. This is why there has to be balance of both. This point touched me, brother Vamsh.
Very nice. Right.
Brother,
Shanti,
humility, humbleness, both are same or different?
Yeah, I think the same. Yeah.
So which means the softness and the form of love.
Right.
And the intellect is a subtle one itself. Baba is telling that is subtle intellect and subtlety. Is that something deeper more than that in the gross level?
Right. So subtle intellect, the more subtle we get, the more powerful we become. Subtle intellect is able to, understand things in their totality. A gross intellect is, then still limited. So, the journey from gross to subtle is what we're all on, basically. It's Baba says a subtle intellect is able to then, be in this balance. A subtle intellect knows, okay, here is where I have to be humble. Here is, where I need to be a master. So, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Subtlety also means the same, brother.
Yeah, subtlety, sukshamta, subtle. Baba says sometimes, things are not visible, subtle. So it's like subtleties, like right now we're all connected together subtly to the power of, electromagnetic waves. They are very subtle. We can't see them, but they're very powerful, and that's what is allowing us to communicate. In the same way, the more subtle we become, the more Baba is able to use us for his task. The more we stay in the gross level, the more we are, prone to Maya, Maya using us. The more we are subtle, then Baba will use us.
Thanks, brother.
Thank you.
Om Shanti, brother. One last point.
Mhm.
I make out the connection between softness and mastery. I was wondering that once we are soft with others, that means to say we have grown over, we have developed a mastery over ourselves.
Right.
It's a human nature that we also need to be treated well while we treat others well. And most of us would have realized that anger doesn't
Mm. Somehow I lost you. Mhm.
Vinod bhai, we lost your voice. You there? I believe there is a connectivity issue.
But no, it's very nice what you were sharing, that softness is towards others and mastery is of my own self. So my own thoughts, emotions, feelings. And there's a balance between the two. Yeah. Mhm.
So, bhai, before we move on to the meditation, we have a small announcement. Can I do that?
Sure, please.
So this Sunday, we will be doing Murli Banthan of the Murli that we read in the beginning of the week, which is dated 28th of November 1969. We will deep dive in this whole essence of this Murli. So we would recommend if we study the Murli and come on Sunday morning class. Sarabhai, over to you for meditation.
Sure. Thank you. Take a few moments as we go beyond the cross into the subtle. Everything that is visible is cross. This whole physical dimension is cross. And so for a few moments, I choose to go beyond the cross into the subtlety of my being. I realize my true self, a being of light. As a soul, I belong to Baba. I have plain remembrance. There's nothing of the cross interfering in my relationship with the Supreme. I'm completely subtle. And this subtlety allows me to be humble and powerful, soft and warm at the same time. I, the soul, am with Baba, just lost in his love. And as I come back into the gross. I hold the subtle in my consciousness. My every plan is a result of plain remembrance. Om Shanti. Shanti. Thank you, Baba. Thank you, family. Have a nice day with Baba.
Om Shanti. Thank you, Baba. Thank you, Saurabai. Thank you, Divine Family. We shall meet tomorrow morning, continuing the same Murli at 5 a.m.